I recently bought myself a Switch, and I am loving it so far. Pokemon is neat, and Breath of the Wild is amazing. But one thing that got really boring quickly was the Joy-Cons. I mean, sure, red and blue is cool, but I wanted something that would be unique, something that no one else would have. I've seen those retro translucent clear Joy-Cons, but I don't really like that look. They feel just way too cluttered. That's why I bought this for $7 off of AliExpress. It came with everything I need to swap out the shells of my set of Joy-Cons. Except these things. Those things fucking suck. I've literally only had the Switch for less than a month, and I've never done this before, so I didn't want to mess up the only pair of Joy-Cons I had. So I bought a new pair. I bought these off of Amazon during Black Friday. In the event that I fuck something up or I break something, I could always put it back together and return it under the impression that they arrived broken. Don't feel bad stealing from Amazon, guys. They paid $0 in taxes last year. I tried to be all cute and slick trying to unbox the stupid box on camera. Eventually I just said fuck it and opened it from the bottom. Yeah, they work. Yeah, they look good. Alright, let's get started. The kit came with 3 parts. The front, the back, and the middle part. This middle part is important as it's what shows in between the trigger buttons on the Joy-Cons. To get in, we unscrewed the weird Y000 screws. I guess that's why they included that screwdriver in the kit, because not everyone is going to have this. I'll be honest, I was kind of stuck trying to figure out how to open the thing, but I stuck something in between the seam and managed to open it just fine. Alright. We're in. The screws I needed to remove were in this cool gold color. The ones that aren't in gold were holding on the motherboard, so I know not to touch those yet. I removed that, but hold on, something is still attached. Ah, the trigger. Anyway, this is the middle part we're supposed to be replacing, by the way. Check it out. I unplugged that with some tweezers, and it's free. See? Gentle.
Fuck.
Now it's just a matter of unplugging everything. This includes the joystick, the rail, and the other trigger button that's still attached. That white thing that it's attached to is a vibration motor. Though I can remove it, it's kind of a pain in the ass to unplug, so I'm just going to keep it attached. Alright, now we're done with the disassembly. It's not too bad so far. The 3DS was definitely much worse. Now let's start putting everything back together again. Once the buttons are in, we can start screwing stuff back in. Okay, now this thing. Fuck this thing, dude. You literally have to pry the trigger off the plastic, and no matter how you do it, it feels like you're gonna break something. You wanna know what made this process so much easier for me? Take one of these, or one of these, jam it in here, and just lift. That's it. That's the only way that seems to consistently work. And even then, putting it back in still took me, like, I shit you not, 15 minutes. I have to line these springs with the little sticks and the triggers and press all the way down really, really hard until finally...
Wow.
And on top of that, the trigger feels like piss now. It has almost no pushback and it feels gummy. Like, this whole part of the swap was just not worth it. I would skip this if I were you. Lastly, the rail. Literally one screw and it's out. That's it. Jesus, that was way better than the triggers. I plug in the rail, screw everything in one last time, and we're done. Now it's time to close it all up. I put the last screws in, but tightening them all the way in resulted in the trigger literally just not clicking at all anymore. The only way to fix that was to keep the screw by the trigger a little loose, resulting in the controller being a little open. But other than that, it seemed to fit perfect on the side of the Switch. And all the buttons seem to work. Alright, I consider that a job well done. But it's getting kind of late, so I decided to just call it a night here and pick off on the other Joy-Con the next day. Alright, it's the next day, and honestly the controller looks so much nicer in the daytime. I am really happy with how it came out. I ended up switching the middle part with the one that came with the controller originally. The clicky feeling just felt awful with one that came with the set, and it just wasn't worth it for the aesthetic. If I ever come across some broken or used gray Joy-Cons, I'll swap it out again for those, since their part is black. Other than that though, it feels identical to the real Joy-Cons. Alright, but now into the right one. This one has a couple key differences from the left one, but it's mostly the same, so I'm just going to speed through most of this. I'm just gonna not swap out the trigger on this one. I'm not gonna make the same mistake twice. Plus, now I don't have to take it apart. Yay! I tried removing the motherboard, but it felt like something was still holding it in place and I couldn't figure out why. Then I realized, oh, there's two cables that you need to unplug. Those weren't there before. I was trying to find an opening where I could get that big last part out of the controller. It looked like it was glued on. I saw the IR sensor was kind of loose, so I tried taking that out first. I'm gonna assume this is for the NFC support. These things have hella technology packed into them for such a small design. Now, after everything was plugged into the motherboard, it was such a pain in the ass to put it back in the shell. There was like 5 different things plugged in at the same time, but after some nudging, I eventually managed to get it back in. And then I was like, oh shit, the buttons. So after kicking myself for being a dumbass, I put in all the buttons, made sure everything looked good on the front, and then screwed everything in place. After screwing in the joystick, I attached the rail, only to realize that I made another mistake.
Finally, Jesus Christ.
Okay, not to worry. This isn't that hard to fix. I just unscrew the rail and attach it to the proper shell. So I needed to plug the middle part in, but the only problem is that the cable it's attached to is really, really short, making it almost impossible to plug in. Unfortunately, I had to resort to taking it off again, which sucked. Here's that prying method I was talking about earlier. Oh yeah, careful. It might fly away. Fortunately, this was the worst of it, and with everything back in place, it was time to finally close everything up. After closing it, I realized that the Joy-Con seemed to be bulging for some reason, and it wasn't keeping closed, like I could see into the Joy-Con. Ah, yeah, this antenna needs to be really tucked in for it to sit properly. Let's try it now. Yeah, that's better. Alright, both Joy-Cons are done. The hard part is over. So the next day, I noticed something that no other Joy-Con housing swap video I've seen ever seems to address. When pairing up the Joy-Cons, I noticed that my Switch still sees the Joy-Con as pink and green. I mean, duh, of course. But I wanted to complete the look on these, so I found this program that lets you change up all types of stuff on your Joy-Cons. I'll leave the link down there if you want to try it out yourself. Some people have made music with these tools, apparently. Anyways, it's really easy to do. All you have to do is pair your Joy-Cons through Bluetooth, and the program should detect them automatically. I noticed that the home button was glowing blue when it paired. I didn't even know it could do that. So here's what the program looks like. I don't know what any of this does, I'm just interested in changing my color. It has a color picker and an eyedropper tool, and it even has the official Joy-Con colors as presets in case you mess up something. Look, I set my color to blue, and my Joy-Con is blue now. But that's not what we're looking for today, so I'm gonna just choose something a little more lavender. Nice. Now I just click right colors, and done. It's purple now. By the way, check out this program. It has a feature where it shows what the IR sensor sees. It's super cool. It's like a mini thermal camera almost. Now I just gotta repeat the same process for the left one, and let's give it a shot.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
It worked. Now my Joy-Cons truly are lavender inside and out. Okay, all done now. I gotta say, I had my doubts at first. People I watched do their own swap ended up inevitably breaking something somewhere down the line. But I think you just need the right tools and some patience. In terms of looks, I'm absolutely in love with how it came out. No regrets whatsoever. I have a Switch that looks completely unique to my own, and I really wish I could do something about those green and pink middle triggers, but that could always be changed up in the future. Although it may be a few years late to this party, I'm satisfied with my swap. I think in the daytime it just comes together really nicely. I'll include guides, download links, and all that stuff down there if you want to try this out yourself, as this necessarily isn't a full guide. Hopefully you found this at least a little interesting, and thanks for watching.